Hey guys, Wayback Rewind here. Today I'm going to take another look at my JVC GR-SXM-730u. A subscriber of mine took issue with my review, said I was being too overly negative and didn't agree with some of my conclusions about how this camera was used, how popular it was when it first came out. So I'm going to take another look at it. I'll be fair and I'll give you my honest opinion of this camera. Coming up next, here on Wayback Rewind. Okay, so welcome back. So let's get started. I have here a compact super VHS camcorder. The subscriber left me some comments. My channel is still small enough that I read and review every single comment and I respond to it. I told this subscriber his comments were such that I would make a follow-up video and explain my point of view. Maybe we'll agree, maybe we won't, but I will give you my honest opinion of this camera. So first of all, I do not have sponsors that buy these cameras for me and let me do reviews on them. So I bought this with my own money. And so this is my camera. I am going to tell you what I like about it. I'm going to tell you what I don't like about it so much. And I'm going to be honest with you. So that being said, I don't hate it. Obviously, I bought it because I wanted it. I had never owned a compact super VHS camera. I had considered buying one back in the day. I really wanted one. And I'll explain to you the nice things about this camera, but there are much nicer cameras on the market at the time this camera was being sold, and I'll show you the camera that I ended up buying instead of this one. So there are three basic things I said that I didn't like about this camera, and I'll go through them one by one. I'll explain to you why I said what I did, and I'll explain to you why the subscriber disagreed, and then you can decide for yourself. So the first thing, compact VHS, I said was a compromise format from day one. I said that these tapes run for 20 minutes and that was a huge pain in the neck. Now on this point, my viewer said, well, that's true, but instead of taking one tape this size, you take 3 tapes this size and you get the same amount of recording time. And on that point, he's right. It's not a huge inconvenience to bring 3 tapes with you that will run for an hour if they're the 20-minute tapes. And if they're the 30-minute tapes, they'll run for, an hour and a half. So bringing 3 tapes with you to record for the same amount of time as one full-size VHS is not a huge inconvenience. So here's a VHS tape. If you were to build a camcorder around this, which they eventually did, it would be much, much larger than this. So JVC's idea, in a way, was brilliant. They said, instead of building a full-size camcorder around this, let's make a smaller version of this, and then the camera itself will be smaller, and when it comes time to play it, I can put it into this adapter, and then I play it. Now I can take this tape and put it into my VCR, and I can play it just like a regular tape. And in that sense, it was brilliant. So this camera came out in 1999. So let's rewind to 1984. In March of that year, JVC came out with the JVC GR-C1u. Now I showed you a picture of it in the other video, but here it is in the flesh. This is the world's first VHS camcorder, and in a way it was the very first camcorder of any format that could record and play back in one handheld unit. This is the Back to the Future camcorder. This is the one Doc Brown described as a miniature TV studio in your hand. This is the one that set it off. This is the very first VHS camcorder. This camera I consider the crown jewel of my collection, because it is the first of its kind. And when this came out in 1984, this was revolutionary. This was fantastic. This was unbelievably small. This was a miracle of miniaturization. So in this respect, compact VHS is brilliant. I have nothing negative to say about compact VHS as far as how it was created, why it was created, and how it was used. Okay, my second point, I said, as brilliant as it is that I can take a compact VHS tape, put it into this adapter, put it into my machine and play it, compact super VHS, I said, kind of kneecaps that whole philosophy. And I'll show you why. Because I come back from my shoot, I take out my compact super VHS tape, put it into my adapter, get ready to play it, and now here's the problem. This machine will not play a compact super VHS tape. I normally would put that tape in there, and I've got my DVD recorder, and I could copy it to DVD and do whatever I need to do with it in the computer. This machine does not play super VHS. This machine right here doesn't play super VHS either. This one over here does not play super VHS. I said super VHS machines were not that common. Most people did not own them, and that is a true statement. So I mentioned this in the other video, but JVC did recognize this problem, and towards the end, all JVC VCRs came out with this thing called Super VHS ET for expanded technology. So all JVC VCRs gain the ability to play Super VHS tapes. Even though this won't play in the 3 machines I showed you, I can put it in here and play it. But if I want to run it to my DVD recorder, now I have to run a wire from this machine over to that machine, so it's more inconvenient. Not everybody bought a JVC VCR, obviously. A lot of people had Panasonic, Sony, any other kind of brand you can think of were not Super VHS ET compatible. That was another JVC thing only. So it was out there, it was available, but it was inconvenient. And so on this point, I will partially concede to the subscriber. It's not a huge deal. The Super VHS machines were out there, but I still maintain that they were not that common. They were almost rare. Out of 6 machines here, only 2 of them have the ability to play this tape. That's a problem. Okay, my final point. I said that in 1999, who was buying these cameras? I said, there are way better cameras on the market. My subscriber said, well, you're looking at this with 2020 eyes, 2020's eyes, and that's not what the market was like. You were wrong. I said, well, hold on here. I've been doing video since 1981. I bought my first VCR, and I was shooting on film since 1977. So I've been doing this a while. I lived through these eras. This is not something I saw in another YouTube video or read in a magazine. I lived through it. And in 1999, I was shopping for a video camera. I showed this to you in my other video. I said, this is the camera I bought. It's digital 8. It's got a better picture. It's got a longer tape that runs for an hour. It even has a larger screen. This has a 4-inch screen compared to this 3-inch screen. This is a better camera in every way. And that's what I bought. Okay, you go, yeah, that's fine. It's a Sony camera. But JVC was dedicated to the Super VHS format. Well, they weren't all that dedicated to it, because JVC themselves came out with a mini DV camera, and I actually bought one of these as well in 1999. This is what they were competing against themselves. This camera has a much smaller tape, records for an hour, versus needing 3 of these to get the same performance. I said that this camera was obsolete at the time that it was being sold, and the only reason people were buying it is because it was cheap. To that point, I will not concede, because this camera is better in every way imaginable. It records a digital video picture, full resolution. This will record whatever it can record because it's analog. If you go to make a copy, to edit these tapes, you have to copy it to another VCR, losing quality. And then after you've edited it, you need to copy it back to another VCR in a 3rd generation and lose even more quality. This is fully digital. You can connect it to your computer, edit in the computer, print it back to the tape with 0 generational loss. This is what people were using in 1999. The only people buying this were buying it because it was an entry-level camcorder and it cost less. And on that point, I will not concede. Having said all that, I bought this camera because I wanted a working copy of a compact Super VHS camera. It does work. I did take it out on the town and I shot some video with it. So let's have some fun and look at that video. Hey there, everybody that wants to be on my YouTube channel, say hi.
You have a YouTube channel? Wait, real quick. She needs us to fill out the waiver, even if you're not skating. You have to scan the QR code and fill out the waiver.
I've done that.
Okay, I did online. Okay.
I did online.
Okay, haven't done it, do it. Okay. And then once we go in, we have a spot at the bar. So.
Sorry, I'm a little sure. I'm glad you moved behind that door.
Buy me a cheeseburger.
What? I don't know if I'll make that one. Be more like 5 cents.
I don't wanna forget, I don't wanna give up on you. The 90s and the early 2s. Bring back the 90s and the early 2000s. That warm and fuzzy feeling from our head to our toes. When we sing and dance to the radio. Bands were still a thing and we would wear baggy clothes. I don't wanna forget, I don't wanna give up on you. The 90s and the early 2s.
If you can't say something nice, then don't say something at all.